All right, this is our assignment comparing mitosis and meiosis. Those two words should sound familiar because that's what we've been doing the last 3 weeks, mitosis and meiosis. So anyways, put your name on it. Remember, this is due today, so you're going to need to want to get this done today in class. Don't be turning it in on, Thursday or something. It's due today. All right, since I'm giving you the answers, pretty easy. All right, mitosis, what's the whole point of mitosis? It's to make exact copies. But make cells that are exactly the same as the original cell. So one cell becomes two that are exactly like the first one. Because we want our new skin cells to be exactly like our old ones. Meiosis, it's the opposite. It does not make exact copies. Meiosis makes cells that are all unique, which just means they're all different. Those are the reproductive cells. So you could have 100 kids, but since all your reproductive cells, your gametes, the sperm and egg, are all going to be different, they're all going to be unique, well, all your kids are going to be different. They're going to be genetically diverse, which means they're going to have a lot of differences in their DNA. Type of reproduction. Since mitosis does not require two parent organisms, mitosis is asexual. There are no boy or girl skin cells. They're all just regular cells. One cell becomes two. So it's not like your skin cells, hey, have to invite somebody out on a date so you can make new skin cells. No, that's asexual mitosis. Meiosis, on the other hand, since it makes reproductive cells, and it's going to require a male and a female, that's sexual reproduction. Chromosome number. Basically, it's just this, 2N. It means there's two of each chromosome in mitosis, where in meiosis, you start with a 2N, two of each chromosome, but you're going to make haploid cells, so it's only N. Ploidy. It's basically asking the same question as was just answered, or just asking the one above. 2N, if you have two of each chromosome, two from, one from each parent, so you have two number ones, two number twos, two number threes. If you have two of each chromosome, that's diploid. You're diploid. Those are your somatic cells. But in meiosis, when we make our gametes, they only have one of each chromosome. They have half. So that's haploid. Number of cell divisions. So remember, these are all the differences between mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis, there's only one cell division. So the one cell divides once and becomes two cells. For meiosis, there's two separate divisions. One cell becomes two cells, and then two cells become four. What type of cells does it occur in? Remember, mitosis is how you make new body cells, also called what I call somatic cells. So mitosis occurs in your body cells, your somatic cells. Where meiosis occurs in your reproductive cells, your sex cells, also called your gametes. You should have heard of gametes by now. That should not be a totally new term. Mitosis, how many of the cells are active? Well, you get two. You get two cells that are active. One cell becomes two. In meiosis, I'm just going to say this. You make four active cells. And that is true for males. Now, in females, you don't have to type this, but females make four cells as well. But most frequently, usually, only one of those four cells is any good. The other three are like smaller, and they call them polar bodies. But you don't need to know that. Just know that meiosis makes four cells, mitosis makes two. Other important facts, scratch it out. All right, page number 2. The process of making an exact copy of a cell. Exact copy, when we're making exact copies, that's mitosis. Because we want our new cells to be exactly the same. New skin cells just like the old ones. And since it requires no sex cells, no male or female, that's a form of asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Now, looking at this little figure right here, so you can see this whole thing is a chromosome. Each one of those green things, that's a chromatid. And remember, they're attached at the centromere. So A is where the chromatids are attached at the centromere. Where each of those the letter B, that's one of the sister chromatids. Chromatid with a D. Whoa, look at this one. This line's kind of crowded. What must happen to DNA before mitosis? Well, it needs to replicate. It needs to make a copy. So DNA needs to replicate before mitosis. And you can see that right here. So that's what happened right here. That's why there's this guy right here, this green one, and then the other half, I'll color it red. The green and the red, those are exact copies. So that's after DNA has copied or replicated itself. So each half of that chromosome, those are exactly the same. Each body or somatic cell of a chimpanzee contains 48 chromosomes. After mitosis, how many chromosomes are present? Well, since we're making exact copies, obviously if you start with 48, you're going to make an exact copy. The new cells are also going to have 48 chromosomes in the somatic cells. Now, the sex cell of an organism has 6 chromosomes. So how many chromosomes would be in its body cells or somatic cells? All right, so if its gametes have 6, and that's haploid means it has half. So the somatic cells would have to have double that. The somatic cells would have to have 12. Because if your diploid number is 12, your haploid number is going to be half, that's 6. And speaking of 6, here's number 6. In mitosis, after the cell divides, there are 2 cells called, you don't need to know this, they're just daughter cells. Daughter cells, that's a silly question. 7, we should all know this by now. If your dog goes pee on a mat, it's now a Pmat. And what does Pmat stand for? The stages of mitosis. The P stands for prophase. The M stands for metaphase. The A stands for anaphase. And the T stands for telophase. Pmat, P-M-A-T, Pmat. 8. During metaphase, the chromosomes line up in the middle. The special name for the middle of the cell is called the blank. You will not need to know this, and you have not heard of this yet, because you won't need to know it. It's called the Metaphase Plate. Metaphase Plate. That's like the middle of the cell where the chromosomes all line up during metaphase. 9er. Humans, like all animals, we all have 2 copies of each chromosome. We get one from mom and we get one from dad. And remember, if you have 2 of each, that's called being diploid. If you only have 1 of each, or half, that would be haploid. This one, circle the diagram that most closely represents the process of mitosis. Remember, in mitosis, we're making an exact copy. Somebody's at the door, so I gotta stop sharing just for a second. Give me a second. And I'm back. Some students asked me if I had any Q-tips. No, I do not. All right, so mitosis, we're making exact copies. So would it be 2N gives you N? That's not an exact copy. Would it be you start with a diploid cell and then you get haploid cells? No, that's more like meiosis. Here, it makes an exact copy, but it makes only 1 cell. That's no good. It's this one right here. That's mitosis. We start with a diploid cell with 2 of each chromosomes. We end with 2 diploid cells with 2 of each chromosomes. 11. In animals, the process that results in haploid gametes. All you gotta do is look a little bit higher. Haploid gametes, how do we get them? Meiosis. Meiosis is how we get haploid gametes in animals. 12. Since meiosis makes sex cells, or reproductive cells, that's a form of not asexual, but now it's a form of sexual reproduction. Because we're going to need a male and a female. 13. What is a gamete? We should know this already. Gametes are the reproductive / sex cells of an organism. 13a, we've done this probably about 5 times already. What's the male gamete? It's called the sperm. What is the female gamete? It's called you can call it the egg or the ovum. 14, chimpanzee again. The chimpanzee, the body cell, somatic cells, has 48 chromosomes. How many are going to be in the chimpanzee's gametes? Now we're cutting that number in half, because remember, we're going to go from the diploid number of 48 to the haploid number of 24. So the chimpanzee's sex cells, reproductive cells, will have 46 chromosomes. And that makes sense, because when a male chimpanzee with his 24 gets with a female chimpanzee with her 24, when it comes together, you get 48, you get a chimpanzee. 15, how many cell divisions occur in meiosis? Remember, mitosis is only 1. Meiosis, it divides twice. That's how we get 4 cells instead of 2. 16. A process called blank occurs in which the chromosomes trade DNA. That's a process called crossing over. Where in meiosis in prophase 1, the homologous chromosomes, the mom chromosome and the chromosome you got from dad, they actually exchange some DNA. That's crossing over. This produces blank. In other words, it makes each organism's DNA a little bit different. It produces genetic diversity. And that just means that all the genes or all the alleles in those gametes are all going to be diverse. There's going to be a lot of differences. They're not going to be all the same. 17. At the end of meiosis 1, how many cells are present? After meiosis 1, we have 2. And after meiosis 2, how many we got? Now there's going to be 4. Because meiosis 1, 1 cell becomes 2. Meiosis 2, 2 cells become 4. 18a, how many sets of chromosome does each cell have after meiosis 2? They only have 1 of each chromosome. That's why they're haploid. 18b, we've done this one probably 5-6 times. Meiosis produces sex cells, otherwise called gametes. Notice how many times I have done this. I've done it a lot of times. That's why I will not forget it, because I practice it so much. 18c, another word for having 1 set of chromosomes. If you have 2 of each chromosome, that's diploid. If you only have 1, that's haploid. Haploid, you have 1. Diploid, you have 2. All right, here's the in males. In males, 4 active sperm cells are made. Not cues. 4 active sperm. What's going on here? Sperm cells are made, and here's in females. You won't need to know this, but in females, you only usually get 1 that's active. 1 active egg or ovum is made, and 3 of them are usually always what duds. They're like useless, and those are called polar bodies, but you won't need to know that. 19, interphase of meiosis. What must happen to the chromosomes? In interphase, it's always the same thing. The DNA, chromosomes, that's all chromosomes are. It's just your DNA. DNA must replicate. We need a copy of the DNA in interphase because we're making 4 cells, and all those 4 cells need chromosomes. 20, when the 4 sister chromatids pair up, and this is during prophase 1, you won't need to know it, but it forms what's called a tetrad. 21, what is the most important thing that happens when the 4 chromosomes pair up? All right, so when the 4 chromosomes, it's really only 2 chromosomes, 4 chromatids. When they form a tetrad, the most important thing that happens is crossing over. Crossing over. That's where they exchange segments of DNA. 22, how many chromosomes are found in human cells? Well, in our somatic cells, we have 46. How many in their gametes? Well, the somatic cells are diploid, so we have 2 of each. The gametes are haploid, so we're going to cut that number in half because they only have 1 of each. So now it's going to be 23. Oh no, draw meiosis. All right, let me see. Actually, why don't we just do this? Let's go to Google. So I'm going to find a Google. Make it a lot easier. Images, stages of meiosis, and then see if we can find a nice picture here. How about that one? How's that one look? Not great. Let's see if we can find out. How about this one? Oh yeah, I like this one better. All right, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this image, go back over here. You guys can do this too if you want. If you like to draw, you can. Hopefully it goes in there. Paste. Go. No. All right, so it looks like I gotta go back. Google Images. Save image as. Meiosis stages, that's fine. Documents. No, actually I put them in downloads. Boom. And now I'll go back to this. I'm going to insert a picture. Do I know how to do that? I'm sure you guys know how to do that. Add media. Boom. From my computer. Boom. I want to add this one. Boom. All right, I got it. I'll make it a little bigger. Oh well, that's good enough. So you can just insert a picture like that. If you can make yours better, that'd be great. All right, that's it. All right, hopefully you guys understand that. Make sure your names are on it, your partners' names are on it, and submit. See you next time.